You can't have a chicken unless you pay $90. That's what I'm going through, people. Oh, you wouldn't believe what's going on in a town of Shenango. Oh, man. If the seat gets too hot, they just get up and run, and somebody else comes and sits in it and has to take up all the responsibility that they flubbed up. Like in my situation, I wanted to buy the property up in back of me. So I went into town. I says, old man knows I'm a war veteran, and he wants to give me a break, sell me his property up there in the back of the hill there, 50 acres for $30,000. It had over $200,000 or more in oak on it, but he couldn't cut it because of the city limits. I didn't know that, so I went to the town. They said, no, you can't cut up there. It's city limits. Here's the plans. They gave me a set of plans, how all the roads are going to go in and all that other stuff. Okay, so I'm in the city limits. So I says, yeah. How did they have them plans for that when I was going to buy it off a little old man? I don't understand that. But anyways, little old man that owned it, he owned 50 acres up on the top of the hill, and he had planted oak trees up there. And the oak trees were so big, not he planted them, but he had planted oak trees on top of the hill that he owned. I don't know if that property was family generated, if way back they've planted them oak trees, but there were lines of them on top of the hill. That main spot, I think they said main spot, the hill, 50 acres up there, and he built a house. A bunch of other houses moved in. He sectioned it off, or they sectioned it off, whoever it was that got the land up there. But I had a chance to get the 50 acres off the guy, the original owner. He was a little old guy. He was a war veteran. He can give me a break, He's, sell it to you for $30,000. You give me $300 a month. And I says, oh, okay. So I go into the town. I says, can I cut down some trees and build a house and stuff? I want. No, you can't cut up there. That's the city limits. You can't cut in city limits. I said, you gotta be kidding, yeah. I can't cut any trees and build a house or anything. It's in the city limits. They never told me go for a variance and maybe you can get some trees off or anything. They just said no. Jeez. That's the quality of the people that they got in there at the time. Because then somebody else comes along and they would have told me, well, you could buy the property and go for a variance and see if you can cut some trees down to build your own home if you want. Like I'm doing now, right? On two little lots. I got some big trees up in back of me. I can cut down and I can build a nice house with them. But I gotta get permits and I gotta get variances and I gotta pay this and pay that and everything to do that. Can't develop my own property. So where's my Fourth Amendment rights? They've been violated. They told me that I couldn't, without proper instruction and everything, and they just said, no, you can't cut because of the city limits. So I said, okay. So I went back to the guy and says, I'm not going to pay taxes on something I can't use, I can't cut anything down. It's in the city limits. So I let it slide. Some guy from Delhi or somewhere is way out. He's a big mouth millionaire. Came in, he rapes the lands all over the place. He raped this land too, and I'll tell you how he did it. He came in and he goes to the town meeting and he says, that's my property, with a cocked eye. That's my property, and nobody's going to tell me I can't cut my trees down. And he leaves. The next thing you hear is chainsaws going. Night, day, all day long, all day. Chainsaws. This guy starts coming down the side of the hill towards me with his chainsaws. So I said, that's it, man. I went around and I got petitions from all the people. He's cutting in city limits, and it's against the law. Stop him. And we even had the sheriff go up there and with drawn guns to get him off the darn property. They wouldn't leave. Defiant. And little old me, if I do something wrong, they're on my case. Oh, I got here. The neighbors complain about my grass is too high in front of my house. They don't realize what I did to this neighborhood. When I moved into it, their house was on sale for $35,000, $50,000. If it was high, house up the street just sold for $185,000. Couldn't sell for $30,000. I'm a broker. I know what happened. I took the trailers off the street, and then boom, everybody's house went up $100,000. Everybody sold, moved, and I got all these new people in. They don't know me. They didn't know what I did to the property or anything like that. They just complained my grass is too high. Too high. On the outside of my fence now. So what does the town do? They come in and assess my property on the other side of my fence, which is my Fourth Amendment rights, the right to privacy. And they told me that I have to cut everything down. On the other side of my fence, that is my property. Between my fence and my house, that's privacy. That's Fourth Amendment rights. And I'm a decorated war veteran that fought for them rights. And I've been hoodwinked by the town of Shenango more than once. I'm not going to get hoodwinked again. I'm going to fight this time, and the whole world's going to know about it. Or the whole nation. Or maybe I'm a legend in my own mind and I don't have any rights. Thank you for your service, but shut up. That's the rights I got. Arbitration. Took our court rights away. I arbitrated over a Bible. I didn't get a Bible. And they arbitrated it. PayPal says, the arbitrator says they sent you the Bible, you owe them the money. That's it. You agreed to arbitration. That's it. They hung up on me. Well, where's theirs? They're going to back me. I didn't get my book. They said they sent it. I never got it. I never even got a tracking note. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, PayPal needs to be investigated. Yeah. There should have been a tracking on that book. So anyways. Shut up. War veteran decorated. I was decorated war veteran because you wouldn't believe what I went through. Oh, I can't, it's a headache telling you it. But I was so puked out from Agent Orange and diesel fuel. I couldn't eat 13 days. Oranges and crackers, and it came right back up. Blech. Blech. Seas are 70-foot waves, 50, 70, maybe even higher than that. They were higher than our ship. They towered us. We were a flat-bottom boat. The waves took us up in the air, and then we started coming down. When we started coming down, you think we would smooth right out. No, we keep on going down into the water, and then we pop back up like a cork. Boom, 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 boom. And the whole ship is vibrating like this. I'm writing letters home. I got letters written home with my ship vibrating like this for 30 days. How would you like to live like that? Thank you for your service. What about my suffering? Now I come back home and I got to pay $90 to get a chicken because I want fresh eggs. I want 2 chickens. They're giving me a big hassle. I says, well, what about a duck? Do I need a permit for a duck? The guy just looks at me, Well, duck eggs are good. All you got to do is wash them, keep them clean and stuff. That's what I've been told. my research, so I was going to get a duck. But they stuck their nose in, and they violated my Fourth Amendment rights to right to privacy, and they entered and looked beyond my fence into my yard and told me that I had all the birds and everything. I have all my plants growing in there. There's a lot of weeds in there that they call weeds, but I call them food because they go on my plate at night, like dandelion roots and burdocks root and stuff like that. I got that stuff growing. And you can't have that. Well, it's on my side of the fence. Don't I have privacy? Don't I have the rights? Don't I have rights? Decorated war veteran fought. Everybody else was going to Canada, burning their draft cards. I'm not fighting in that war. And I went to the hospital and got an operation and had a body part removed so I can go fight the war. And when I got there, I had fallen asleep during boot camp when they took exams because I have narcolepsy. I just couldn't stay awake. And I went in to take the exam, so I just filled in all the circles and put my head down and went to sleep. So they had me as an nincompoop, which sometimes I am. But most of the time I'm not. I went and got 2 4-year degrees and 1 2-year degree. I'm not an nincompoop. And I graduated with honors. If I don't tell you, who's going to tell you? I graduated with honors. I graduated in a social science honor society. You had to have a grade point average of 3.0 or above, and mine was 3.0. I was a high school dropout in 9th grade. And I was prophesied over Holy Spirit Retreat House up in Connecticut. Roy Leger, prophet, came up to me, put his hand on my head, and said, "You'll be a scholar." And I went, "Yeah, you don't know." I went to 9th grade, just going into 10th. Wouldn't let me play football. So I quit school. 16, Mr. Know-It-All. "Oh, you're going to let me play football? Well, I know college. Can't get into college. I'm poor as can be." They didn't have all these programs like they had like when they do now, So I talk through my nose, and I talk like this because the heavyweight champion of California, Diamond Belt champion, I sparred him in the gym, and he busted my nose on purpose because my brother was number 1 in the world, and he wanted his name to be known. So he says, "Oh, here's Mike Nixon's brother. I'll break his nose." And that's what he did. He was good. This heavyweight was good. I don't know whatever happened to him. I even forgot his name because I forgave him. And when you forgive, you forget. You hate, you always hate. If you forgive, you forget. And you don't have to go on thinking about getting hit in the nose again. I mean, you can see how it's going this way. But it was pushed into my head. I had to pull it out of my head, stick my fingers up there, and straighten it out. And I didn't quite get it all. I got a deviated septum right where I got my finger right now. It's deviated septum. That bone has to be snapped and put back so I can breathe through it. I can breathe through it. Difficult. So I got my nose busted, so okay. It taught me, I was sparring all kinds of heavyweights. They was amateurs. And I could handle an amateur, stay away from them, move around, this and that. But this guy, he was one of them guys, their father, 5-year-old, had gloves and they was training him. And he trained him all the way up until he was big enough to go fight. And he was big enough. He was a heavyweight. He was like 220. Big blonde-haired guy. 6'3", something like that. I didn't know how good he was because I fought a lot of amateur heavyweights. They can't even fight. They can't even move. This guy was good. I don't know whatever happened to him. I don't know what his name was either. He was the Diamond Belt champion of California, and I think it was 71 or 72. Because it was right after I won the Golden Gloves and went to New York. I was in New York and I went to California to train, see if I was going to be a pro or not. And then I decided I was going to go to college after I got my nose busted. Knocked some sense into my head. God. He does that. And twice. Once when I was a child, I spoke like a child, reasoned like a child, behaved like a child. And I got suckered in by some big guy, motorcycle guy, yeah. "Oh, I'll give you 8 quarters if you watch me masturbate." And I says, I was 9 years old, right? I said, "Well, what do you mean masturbate? What do you do?" "Oh, you watch me and I'll give you 8 quarters." I said, "Okay, whatever." So I watched him masturbate and he gave me 8 quarters, and I got these, man, 8 quarters just for watching him masturbate? So I watched him masturbate. I don't know how many times. Oh, God, I laugh at it now, but man, I look and see the damage it did to me. I had to go through the struggle of, oh, man, getting away from them people after I got molested by an older person. 5, 6 years older than me. I'm 9, he would have been 16. So if I was 9, 6, so he's 6 years older than me. 16, 17, 18, whatever. Well, he went in the service. Went to Vietnam, too, and somebody shot him in the head. Wham! And it doesn't look like it was battle fire either. It looked like he was some whorehouse and husband came home and shot him in the head or something. That's what happens a lot over there. He had a jealous husband. He got the money. See, the women, oh, you want some, you know? You got the money? Okay. And then all of a sudden, their husband shows up, wants more money. And he's got a gun. And if you refuse to pay it, you're a dead man. That's the way it is, people. You didn't know that, did you? Half the guys that were there and they go back, like this guy was in Vietnam. He made it through his tour, and he came back home, fooled around in the fag bars and all that stuff, whatever he was doing. And then he ended up going back over, re-enlisted and went back over, because over there, for $1, you can get a good, whatever rhymes with buck. I try to not use that word, but I switch it. I use the opposite. Celibate. What's the celibate going on here? Instead of what the F is going on, I say the opposite of F is celibacy. So I say, what the celibate's going on around here? I'm trying to be humorous about it because I've forgiven all this stuff. I'm just letting you know about it. It's nothing I'm holding a grudge against anybody for, because I went through it and I said, okay. So I share in my own guilt. But God is greater than that. God forgives if He senses you got a remorseful heart and you're truly sorry. You don't just go sin like a lot of Catholics do. They sin, they go on Saturday, they go to confession, on Sunday they go to communion, and they're all Mr. Holy and everything. And technically by the church they are, because they went to confession and communion. But then on Monday they jump back into bed with mortal sin until next Saturday. And then they confess it again. And the priest says, are you sorry for your sin? And you say yes or no. If you say no, you don't get absolution, Mr. No. If you say yes, then God is the one that judges your heart. see if you're really, truly sorry. I'll just sin, and then I'll go to confession, and then I'll go to communion, and I'll come back and sin again. It ain't the way it works, people. You got to be truly sorry for your sin and not do it again, or your sins will eat you alive. Because the body and blood is what makes the soul inside you grow that God gave you when you were conceived. That's why he's so upset. We're not only murdering babies in the flesh, we're murdering his souls, the baby souls he put into the flesh. Because when you're conceived, God says, here's a soul and a guardian angel. I'll see you in life. Nowadays, he says, I'll see you in life if you make it. If not, you're a martyr, and you'll fly in heaven forever. Little babies flying around in heaven, around the Blessed Mother, our Holy Queen. So, you molested people. I have a devotion, because I got black in me. I'm a black man. You don't look like it. I'm the white black man. Let's see. I got black down in here. Nappy black. I don't know how good it's coming out of this camera, but I got black. I got black and black eyebrows. I got black. But I'm white because I'm Irishman, too, I went up to this one guy, he's black, in a FedEx building. I left my story, didn't I? I've got so many of them. I jump around. So you're going to have patience with me. I jump all over the place. I'm 76, man. I got 76 years of stories in me. And I can remember back to I was 1.5 years old when I was hit over the head with a baby bottle because I was sleeping in his crib. His mother was babysitting me, and he hadn't slept in that crib in a couple of years, but he knew it was his crib. What am I doing in it? So he's up there checking me out, grabbed my baba out of my mouth, sucked it all down, and I started crying. He hit me over the head with it. Bam, bam, bam. I can remember it. Because it was traumatic. 1.5 years old, being babysitted, and his mother calls out his name, and he scoots. She comes in and looks, and she puts her hand immediately on my head. So it must have been swollen and red, bleeding maybe. I don't know. He hit me with my baby baba because I cried because he's right out of my mouth, I remember it. Isn't that funny? And I can forget here. Now that's long-term memory. Short-term memory, I'll say I need a tool, and on the way I find, I didn't do this job. I stopped to do that. I stopped to do this one. I stopped to do 2 or 3 jobs, a little bit on them. Then I say, what was I looking for? Short-term memory loss. Long-term traumatic, it doesn't leave me. It doesn't leave me. This is the Sacred Heart of Jesus. If it's exposed, it's a replica of his Sacred Heart. It's just, I don't know, it's like a metaphoric picture of his heart, really. So it's a substitute for Christ's heart. And whoever bears Christ's heart and exposes it in their dwelling, he'll bless that whole family and the dwelling. So wherever my heart is exposed, I will bless that place and everyone in it. So right now, people, you're being blessed. because my heart is to your heart. And I'm exposed in your house where you, or wherever you are, your car. Maybe you might be out in the field. The whole area, take your shoes off. It's holy ground. The heart of Jesus is present. What's the Shekinah? The Shekinah is the true presence of Christ in Eucharist. Because Jesus says, I must rise to the Father who is greater than I, and when we embrace the Holy Spirit will be created by our love for each other. And I'll send the Paraclete to you. I'll not leave you orphaned. That's what he said, right in the Bible. So he sent the Paraclete. Who's the Paraclete? Everybody knew who it was until Martin Luther came along and took Jesus out of the Eucharist. Yeah, the true presence of Christ is in Eucharist through the consecration of the host at Mass. When it's consecrated by a priest laying on of hands, a priest according to the order of Melchizedek. Jesus, he brought them in, he washed all their feet. They were his priests, first ones, and through the laying on of hands, they increased. And the Pope, from Pope Peter all the way down to Pope Leo now. How many popes is that? Close to 300. That's what I think is a magic number. The 300 number. 300 popes since Jesus rose from the dead. I think it's significant to something. The number 3. I'm into number 3s. 1 and 3. 13. 31. I don't hear 3 gods and 1 divine person. Or is it 3? 3 divine persons and 1 God. I think it is. I misspoke. So I'm not all, I don't know if you could take it either way. So as Jesus talks, and I listen, and then I talk from what I hear. That's why all my videos, 400 of them, none of them have a script. I just go by what God wants me to say. And I just keep going and going and going. Even in my songs, I never sing a song that's from God the same. Every time I sing it, the rhythm is the same, kind of like, but it changes and it gets, you see when I play different rhythms, and God gave me. And then my spirit can grab onto that rhythm, and God feeds my spirit with words. I'm not really profound. I'm not some big intellectual or anything. I'm just a simply blessed me. Simply blessed. That's all I am. Time to change my hat. Simply blessed. That's all I am. So now we get back to where. See what I mean? I got all these stories and they run right into each other, and I never finished the original one. I can't remember what it was unless I stop the tape and play it back. Then I can't add on to it because I don't know how to do that yet. So I just keep on going. I just go from here on. Maybe what I was talking about was too negative and God wanted me to forget about talking about it. Who knows? But everything I'm talking about is in my videos. 400 of them. Some of them are 4.5 hours long, 3.5 hours long, 2.5 hours long, 1.5 hours long. Sometimes only 50 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. I've got 400 videos on YouTube. Now, if you don't watch them, they archive them because nobody's watching them, so they get archived. I might as well be archived anyways because I go back to my videos, look at them, and they say, let's see, 6 months ago, I had, 6 months, 34 viewers in 6 months. It's not a lot. I don't know how many they gave it to. So I get a lot more viewers than you understand because to register a viewer the way I think it's done is they have to push like. That's why they all say, push like, please. Because their money that is generated for advertisers and all that stuff is by how many people are watching you or have watched you. And it has to be up to a certain number. I think it's over 1,000 or something like that. People have to be watching it for it to go possibly viral. Viral, they call it V-I-R-A-L. Is that what they call it? Viral? I don't know. These are all new words to me. It's all computer stuff, so I just had to learn all this, how to set up all my equipment and everything. I've been doing it for 4.5 years now. Approximately, since COVID started. Since COVID started, I went video. That's when I joined YouTube. 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago, I don't know how long ago it was. But I joined YouTube so I could talk and send it to people. Or just God could use it. Because everything I have talked about in the video is about the poor children in Kenya who are being eaten by crocodiles, 100 cases a year. They actually scope the child out, see its habits. What time does he come down and get water? Oh, the sun's coming over the peak of the mountain. Okay, well, tomorrow I'll be out there waiting for him, and I'll have breakfast. Or brunch, because he doesn't come until 10 or so for his first dip with a 5-gallon bucket. Then he has to carry it home. Might be a mile, might be a mile and a half, might be a mile, 2 miles. He has to carry that bucket home of milky, muddy, milky water. That's what it looked like. And he had to swish the turds away before he dumped the bucket, so he didn't get feces mixed in with the water. And he's out in the middle of the river because it's a drought. It's down to his waist. He's only 10, 11. Mommy wants some water for the mud hut they live in. She's got to do the dishes just like everybody else. She's got to take and do the laundry and wash things up and stuff. She needs a 5-gallon bucket of water. So, Joey, go down and get some water. Okay, Mommy. And then he grabs his sister by the hand and they hop and skip down the road with a 5-gallon bucket. Until they get to their location. And then you can't get the water right off the seashore, the river shore, because everybody's washing their clothes and taking baths. It's real soapy and everything like that. Who wants to drink that? But the fresher water in the middle of the river is running water. Still got a lot of turds on top of it. Every animal you can think of, it lives in that river, and they don't get out of the river to go into the bushes. So they don't soil of the river. They just go in the river. And everything and his brother lives in that river. So you want to drink that water? That's why they're dying of diarrhea, dysentery, all kinds of diseases. Come drinking that milk, mud milk water. Imagine going to the river to get a glass of mud milk in the morning and just drinking it right down because you're thirsty. And then if you luck out, if you got enough antibodies in you, you're allergic, you can drink that water. But if you don't, you become chronically allergic to it. And your body starts reacting with diarrhea, stomach diseases, puking. Matter of fact, I think that's just how this tape should end. Me puking all over the place with all the stuff that's going on in the United States government. Right now, a homosexual can go in an orphanage and adopt a child, bring it home, make sex films with it, and sell it on the internet. That's what they're doing. We gave them the right to do that, to go into an orphanage and adopt a child legally. I'm sure that they're all the children are asked, especially if two men adopt them, they're going to ask about what you talk about with daddy and daddy, and all that stuff. A little child, 4 or 5 years old, you give it everything, a bike. Oh, you give it a bike so they can ride it. A trike, really. So, oh, man. I don't want to get depressed about it, but he gets everything. A bike, clothes, schooling's paid for, he has a meal every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You got 2 men that love him. They actually love him. This is their son. But they don't realize what they're doing to their son. They're making their son like they are, homosexuals. Because he listens at night. He listens to daddy and daddy. He's in the other room, right? He hears a gagging and a choking and a ooh and an ah. All night long he can hear it. Whenever they want to. Whenever they do it. So he asks his dad, Daddy, what are you and Daddy doing in there? What you and Daddy doing? I heard all this choking and gagging and oohing and on. What are you doing in there? And now the father knows that he's going to be questioned by his people that monitor him because he's got it. They find out what's going on. 2 men adopting a child. They want to know what's going on. So he doesn't tell him what's going on. He says, son, when you're old enough, you'll understand. And the son just looks at him and goes away. And he's only 4 or 5. He doesn't even have pubic hair yet. He don't know what's going on. But he keeps on hearing it, And then one day he gets aroused by it. He's reached sexual maturity now. What are they doing in there? Oh, he's got a jar of Vaseline in his hand. And he's listening and he's playing. And then one day he says, oh, are you daddy going to do it again tonight? I'll be listening. With a jar of Vaseline. And what happens? Oh, why don't you come on in with your jar of Vaseline, son? Find out what it can really be like being a homosexual. They're perverts, people. They pervert children, because I was perverted by one. For 8 quarters, he perverted me. And then 8 quarters more, and 8 quarters more. Until one day he says, I'll give you 10 quarters if you let me suck your pee-pee. And I'm looking at him. I thought about it. I says, no, I don't want you to do that. Tickle me. I'll start laughing and everything. It'll be too ticklish. I couldn't do that. So he realized that I wasn't there yet. I wasn't sexually mature yet. I was watching, just curious. Icky. He was uncircumcised, too. What a mess he was. And he'd climax, and he'd just pull his skin over it, hold it there, and then release it in front of me so I could see it drip. And I'd start gagging in my mind, And I just back up. Oh, I couldn't stand seeing that. I wasn't sexually mature yet. Maybe if I was sexually mature, who knows, maybe I started drooling, or something. That's what he was waiting for. He is culturing me into being homo. So when I do become sexually mature, he'll be there. So he tries to reinforce it. So he says, one day he sees me walking down the street and he pulls up with his bike. He says, get on there, Billy. Come on, we're going to go for a ride. But I got on the bike and we went down the park. And these 2 girls came up with their sleeves rolled up, short haircuts and stuff. They knew him real good. They go, hey, man, what's happening? I don't know if that's how they talked back then, but that was that age. Everybody was a hippie. I was just 9 years old, but it was that 60 generation. I would have been 10, and everybody in the 60s would have been teenagers with long hair and hippies smoking pot and all that stuff. Drugs were really big. I never got into them, thank God. Most I ever did was marijuana and some amphetamines. Somebody would have an amphetamine. Here, take this, and I'd be, wide awake and ready to do something. That could get to be a habit, especially if you have narcolepsy and you're kind of like lethargic a little bit, like I am now. Because I didn't sleep hardly at all last night. I don't have a REM sleep. So see how I got off the subject? The reason, I'll come back to REM sleep later. I got off the subject. So these 2 girls are up, and they come up and say, hey, man, what's happening? And he says, you see that woman over there swinging on the swings? And they said, yeah, we've been watching her. She's got bahunas big as my head. That's how big they were. And she was young, and she was nice shape, too. And he says to her, he goes, if you go over there and start a fight with her, rip her blouse off, I'll give you each $5. Now, back then, that was in the 60s. $5 was a lot of money. These 2 dykes, okay. So they go over there, we're watching. We went over and sat on a bench, Come over and watch this get closer, so you can get a good view of what's going to happen. So they get in there and they start talking to her, and then they said something to her about something, and she got defiant about it, and they started argument, and pretty soon, there was blows. Wham, wham, and then the other one jumped in behind her and grabbed her blouse and ripped it right off of her. And there she's standing there with those great big kahunas, and I'm going, oh my goodness, I've never seen anything so women like that before. Big hanging kahunas, And I'm 9 years old. This is not a sex film, people. I'm telling you the truth. This is what happened. I'm not making this up. This is the truth. So I'm looking at her, She grabs her bladder, she's crying, she covers her nipples. But you couldn't, everything else was just bulging. She was huge. And I look over to my molester, and he's going, oh yeah, oh, man, look at that. And he pays the two girls $5 piece. Yeah, that's what happens in the world, people. You don't know that. And I'm standing watching it, not having any type of sexual response to it because I'm not sexually mature yet. I don't even have pubic hair. I got a little winky. A winky dinky. Just a little guy, man. That's all I was. I was underdeveloped, probably, for that age. He was expecting me to, let's go back and have sex. Not me. I didn't know how to get away. I had 8 quarters. I could go buy Tootsie Rolls and popsicles for my buddies. Hey, man, come on, let's hang out. I'll buy you a popsicle. I was like a rich man, I got all these friends until I ran out of my 8 quarters, and they all disappeared. As long as you got money and stuff, you got a bunch of friends. But if you don't have any, and you're borrowing, you don't have any friends. Nobody wants to hang out with you because they don't want you to borrow. And you don't pay them. You don't pay them back. Long COVID. Long COVID. 580 days almost. I got COVID. 14 days. I had a miraculous medal on. Delivery on Feast of the Miraculous Medal. December the 8th. The Immaculate Conception. Feast of the Immaculate Conception. Associated with the Miraculous Medal. And I'll be harmed. And I made it through COVID. Unharmed. I didn't die. They were dying all around me. 1,000 here, 10,000 there. Everybody was dying. I said, oh, sugar. I'm going to catch that. I hope not. Well, I did. You know why? How I got it? I was on opioids for my back, and they were making a lazy slug out of me. So I decided I'm going to get off of them. And I went cold turkey, threw everything down the toilet so I couldn't go back. Say, well, maybe I'll try it on some other day. I threw all my drugs down the toilet. And I went cold turkey for 9 days. Maniac me. I had to nail my wife's door shut with my nail gun. That was a scene. Because I was afraid I was going to go in there and not hurt her. I wouldn't hurt her. I'd run into the river or something before I do that. But I ripped everything off the walls. I smashed my TVs because they are warranties they didn't honor. They ripped me off. I wouldn't pay my warranties. I bought a $380 warranty on my $2,700 TV. I said, what does it cover? And he says, everything. So something goes wrong a couple months after, and I call him up, and I threw a baseball card or something, hit the screen, put a little dent. I don't know where a little dent, a small little, not a dent, but a burst of different colors going in all directions, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. I took the whole screen over. I lost it, so I call him up. He comes over and he says, "Oh, that's accidents. We don't cover accidents." I said, I got a full extended warranty, and the guy told me it covers everything. No, everything but accidents. And he left the house in a fury because I was arguing with him about it. I told him to show up with something to turn the TV on with, because cable, not the cable, but that where you get satellite. The clouds, this is too cloudy for satellite around here. You don't get good reception on certain days. So I had them take it out. So, and they have a lot, they had a lot more program than what Spectrum's got. You know, that dish, whatever it is, nice program. If you live in an area where there's no clouds, we live in the twilight zone. It's cloudy here 24/7. Yeah. Every morning. Some days you get a bright day, though. We're noted in, somebody told me in the book of world records. I don't know if it's Guinness or not, just in the world record book of weather or whatever, that we're noted for the least amount of sunshine in 1 year, 23 days. In a whole year, we had 23 days of sunshine. All the rest was twilight zone. And that's what I live in, the twilight zone. I'm the white black man from the twilight zone. And you won't believe what I got in me. I'm Arabic, Muslim. Full jaw, huh? That's what I was at one time. And then my mother's side of the family was Jewish. The Hebrew something, but Jewish religion, Judaism. We were Jews. So I got Jews and I got Muslim in me. What a combination, huh? A Muslim Jew. But here, I'll put another one on it. I'm a Muslim Jew Catholic. Cradle born Catholic. Right from the cradle. My mother was the first baptized Christian in the Jewish family. My mother's side of the family. Her siblings and her. Because her father was an Italian and they went to a Catholic church. And they baptized their children at 8 days old. He observed that, even though he took my grandmother and locked her in a bedroom until she had 5 kids, quit trying to run away. 18 years old, she was brought over here. Her father was an aristocrat over there, and they can't marry peasants, but they can have a madam on the side. And they have children with them. And then when the children get old enough, the girls, they sell them. That's what they used to do back then. And my grandfather bought my grandmother. And they said, "Oh, we're going to let you go to California, not California, but to Duluth, Minnesota. And you'll be interviewed by people of music. So your beautiful voice." So she was all willing to go and all that, 18 years old, all naive, packaged up and everything. Went over there and sure enough, pulled up to Duluth, Minnesota, and there was an Italian guy about my size waiting on the dock for her. And he introduced himself. "I am Peter Montleone, and I've been put in charge of you. Your dad made arrangements." "Oh, okay." So she went with him. And they went to his farmhouse, and he opened up the door and let her in, luggage and all that, brought it into her own bedroom. Here, this is your bedroom. You'll be sleeping here. And then I'll take you for your interviews and all that, for your voice and all that. She said, "Oh, okay." So she puts her suitcase up on the side, and he turns around and he leaves and he closes the door, and she hears click. What was that? She goes over and tries the door. She's locked in. He locked the door. And he didn't open it up until she had 5 kids. Yeah. My mother ended up the 13th child. And I'm the firstborn of the 13th. So I'm the Lord's. Firstborn is the Lord's. It's God's. So that's my history, kind of like my heritage. Not my history, but my heritage. Then I have relatives, they said, oh, I went over there and we had our blood tested. And we don't have any Jewish in us at all. I says, really? I says, mean I can go to a doctor, have him test my blood, see if I'm a Catholic? She didn't think of that, did she? You can't test your blood, see if you've got Jewish in you. Jewish is a religion. You're a Jew if you worship Judaism. I'm a Catholic. I worship Catholicism. What's Catholicism? Like a Catholic way. Jews worship the Jewish way. I was a converted Jew, really, by cradle-born Catholic. But my mother was also cradle-born. Well, no, she wasn't. Yeah, well, she had to get baptized after she was born. And I did that. I don't know if her grandmother, if my grandmother, her mother, did turn Christian or not. I don't know why look what she was subject to. But she went along with it. After the 5th kid, she quit trying to run away. She had a family. Okay, you're my husband, and this is that, this. And she went on and she just ate herself to death. She weighed over 500 pounds. Big, huge woman. I remember seeing her. She'd go, talla, talla, when I was doing something. I didn't know what talla means. I asked other Italians, what does talla mean? She'd go, talla, talla. Because I was a little mischief little guy, And maybe that was what you little rugrat, stop it. Talla, talla. Who knows? I don't know what she. But I knew I had to stop when she said that. I don't know. She spoke Italian, she come from Italy, really. France. They came down. It was supposed to be Mary Magdalene after the crucifixion went into France, which was called Frank, Northern Frank, or France. And she married into royalty because she was considered to be royalty because she was involved with the crucifixion. And they were all Christian Jews from where she went from Jerusalem to Northern Frank, or France. Married into the royalty, the French royalty. And then she could, she was a member of royalty now. Where peasants couldn't marry royalty back then. It was against the law. A lot of people back then, in order to own property, you had to be either clergy or royalty. So a lot of people got into clergy for the wrong reason. Yeah, money. And that's where corruption comes from, money. Money takes the place of God. Either serve mammon or serve God. And that's what the problem is today. We all have to serve mammon to survive decently. Because if you don't,
You're a poor man. But now they got a lot of programs. Sometimes I wish I was an immigrant or something, or somebody that was in exile from a country, because you come to the United States and they give you more money than somebody that was working his whole life as working jobs and everything, paying taxes. He gets $600 and some dollars a month when he retires. If you're a refugee and you come over, I heard it was as high as $3,800 they'll give you if you're a refugee. And now that's more than American citizen gets when they're down and out. What's going on here? Yeah. Where are our priorities? Take care of your own first, and then take care of the riffraff. That's what it is. They're sending them in from mental institutions, prisons, break the law. They're rapists, they're murderers, and they're flying them over the wall in planes and landing them in the middle of the United States, and they all scatter like cockroaches when the plane door opens up and lands in some field somewhere in the middle of the United States of America. And they scatter like cockroaches when the light comes on. Everywhere they go. And then they just blend in, and then you start hearing people crying because their daughters have been raped and murdered, and they thieved everything. And they got most of your possessions, selling it so they can survive. They don't get a job. They just murder instead. Because these people don't hoodwink you out of your money. They murder you for it. Because that's where their brain is at. That's what they were taught. All interaction with others is what becomes. Because if you hang out with a homo, most likely you're going to be a homo. Unless you escape somehow and Jesus saves you, you're going to be a homo. I don't know, the homos want to go to church? Yeah. They want to be accepted. Okay, we're homosexuals. We love each other. Well, they do in heaven. They love each other just as much as you love your homo brother or homo husband or homo boyfriend or whatever you want to call them. They love like that in heaven, but there's no lust. And I'm talking about, you say, well, they don't make love in heaven. Yeah, they make love, what love really is, but they don't lust. They don't stick their tongue down another man's throat. God isn't standing there with his tongue hanging out saying, come here, you little sweetheart. I've wanted to stick my tongue down your throat for a long time. You think that's what God does? He goes, bleh, when he thinks about what you're doing. Man, pickle smooching. That's what you do, you pickle smooch. You're a bunch of pickle smooching nincompoops. You think you're going to make it to heaven that way? All you're going to do is burn in hell forever if you pervert a child. As it says, if you pervert a child, it's better for you to put a millstone around your neck and throw yourself in the deepest part of the ocean, because your punishment and judgment day is going to be much worse. So we got to take that law off the books, people, because that's what's bringing us down. We're perverting our children. If we pervert our children, they'll grow up to our disgrace. Mark my words. Has God got to show you a sign that he's really upset about us murdering babies before they even come into the world? He gave them a soul and a guardian angel, and he said, I'll see you in life. And nowadays he's saying, if you make it. A lot of babies, the nuns that first heard of an abortion being done, heard it now with their ears. They're standing there, they're two nun nurses. They're both nuns. And the doctor comes in, and I'm making a scenario up just to show you how casual he is. He comes in with a sandwich. He's eating a sandwich. He's looking at his watch. He has an 8 o'clock appointment with the street corner honey he met a couple of days ago, and he's going to have a big bar bill tonight. So he's got to have a couple of abortions underneath his belt so he can pay his bar bill. I'm just making that as a scenario. It could have happened, but I'm just trying to make. That's how he is. He's a narcissist psychopath. Sociopathic, too. Because he'll rip your arm off. You're a human being. He'll cut your leg off. And if you cry, he'll cut your head off. There's no empathy in him about human beings. He's a narcissist psychopath. Doctor. Mark my words. That man will burn in hell brighter than everybody else. And it's a black flame. Dark blue, black, non-consuming flame that consumes your soul, and your soul never, it's like a piece of coal. It don't burn out. You're an eternal piece of coal in hell, keeping the universe warm. You're the fuel of hell. You want to be there? You want to burn forever? Then keep on molesting the children, people. Keep it up. You'll see a genocide happen. And then you'll see the eruption. God is so furious. He'll erupt. And when he erupts, the city that he erupts under will shoot past on the path of hell. Sodom and Gomorrah, because their sins are worse. And they are taunting God right now with a volcano. They got a fake volcano and they make it erupt. They're taunting God. God will not be mocked. He'll make that come true. You want to let that volcano off? Well, here's God's volcano. Right under you. Las Vegas. That whole area is designated for the stars and the explosion that's going to take place because of God's wrath and God's fury that you're not obeying his laws. Thou shalt not pervert a child. Thou shalt not murder one either. We're going to pay with a genocide, people, if we don't straighten up. It's already starting to bloom. Trump had to send troops in to where it was blooming. How much now all the big lawyer demons are after him. How he's violated Fourth Amendment, right? Privacy and the right to be who you want to be. Well, you can't be homosexual practicing. You can be homosexual. You can love each other. Maybe even go as far as hugging and rubbing each other's backs or whatever. But no lust. No sticking your tongue down his throat. Vice versa. Whatever tongue I'm talking about. Whatever makes you gag, I guess. Eh, are you homosexual? Well, whatever makes you gag, man. If you think I'm homosexual, whatever makes you gag, you know? That's like I say, everybody's saying the word F, the F word, I say, I'm going to switch that around. I'm going to use celibate instead, because that's the opposite of fecunda, whatever they call it, is celibacy. Celibate. So I go, hey, man, what the celibate's going on here? Instead of saying, hey, man, what the fuck are you doing? And you say, hey, man, what the celibate are you doing? Sounds better, don't it? And you're still aware of what you're doing. But doesn't the word fuck make things like it's have an accent to it? It's like, you put a slash on it. Fuck. So that's just a word. A lot of Christians will say that word. I've even heard priests use foul language too when they get upset, throw things around. I saw this one priest once. He was saying a mass for a funeral. And all the people were there in the funeral, and they were ready to process out of the church. And the bell rings. It's 12 o'clock mass. And all these people come running, not running, but walking into the church right in the middle of this guy's funeral, this visiting priest funeral. He was asked by the family to come and do the mass. But he wasn't aware of the 12, didn't give it a second thought. Oh, the 12 o'clock mass, we got to get into this mass before it's 12 o'clock because all the people for the 12 o'clock will be coming into the church while we're leaving. So there's going to be a jam up at the door. They're coming in and you're going out. But what's really nice about it is that every one of those people are coming in the middle of a funeral. They don't know what's going on. They'll pray for that person. Oh, pray for him. I can hear him right now, praying for that person. But the priest is upset because he ruined his program. He had a beautiful program going. He got through to a lot of people, he felt. But here's what happened. Just what happened. See, I've been up all night. I don't get any nocturnal sleep because I had a hand grenade go off by my head in Vietnam. Friendly fire. The guy tried to murder me because he was so pissed at me. He was trying to take all his anxiety out for being on that boat 2 years that I was on. He spent 2 years as the welder, and I was the replacement. I was a ship fitter welder. I was in engineering. I went to welding school, so I was going to replace him and get my stripe. There's only 75 bunks and 157 guys, so they paired us off. And because he was the ship fitter welder, I was his apprentice, so I slept in his bunk while he was on duty. And when I was on duty, he slept back in his bunk. So one day I'm walking around and he's in the bag room. He says, "Nixon, come in here," because he's a petty officer. He orders me. Yes, sir. I go in there. He talks to me. He says, "Listen," and he grabs me by the throat and he puts his elbow in my throat, pushes me up against the wall, and he puts his elbow in my throat. What a bold little bastard. I could have knocked him out so quick. But anyways, he didn't know who I was. Jeepers. I knocked guys 10 times the size. I knocked guys out 7 feet tall almost. I had to jump up and hit him in the jaw. Put him out cold on top of the pool table. I had to do that once. 16 years old, I'm in the bar. Drunk comes up to me, great big guy, almost 6'8", 7 foot almost. He's looking down at me. He had a few drinks in him. He said, "Get off the table. I'm going to play now." I says, I'm playing pool here. And he pushed the issue and come at me, and I let him have it. Wham on the jaw, and I laid him out on the pool table. And the bartender comes running over, and he says, I had a pool cue in my hand. He says, did you hit him with that pool cue? And I says, no, I hit him with my left hook on the jaw because he was attacking me. And he goes, well, get out of here. Hurry up, get out of here. Comes back, I don't want a commotion. When he comes back too, I don't want a commotion here. Get out of here. So I obeyed the guy because he was, I knew him. I used to go in his bar all the time. He never bugged me. But that guy, that big drunk guy, came at me. I dropped him. I was only 16 years old too, 16. Almost 17 probably. I dropped him on the table. He was just laying there quivering. I let him have it good. Yeah, it was a beautiful punch, too. I hit him right where you got to hit to knock somebody out, man. And I saw another guy later, and he's going, yeah, I remember you hit me, and you broke my jaw. Oh, I said, I remember you. You're the one I had to lay out, and the bus almost ran over your head because I whacked you, and you fell back, and your head went out in the road, and the bus went by and missed your head about that much. I remember that. I'm sorry for it, I said. But it was the heat of the argument. It was a big fight. Everybody was in a fight. And you're the attacker, and I was the attackee. And I wasn't going to let it happen, man. So I let you have it. Wow. So I spent so many days, I couldn't eat for so many days, and he's telling me all this stuff. Yeah, I learned my lesson good that day. So I don't know if I wrote him out a check or what. I gave him, yeah. I don't remember how I did it, but I did pay him back $50. $50. See, I'm starting to fall asleep. What's $50? Oh, God. See what I mean? Narcolepsy does this to you. Lose your train of thought. I'm just giving you an experience to show you what it's like. Because I'm tired right now. Now, if I was asleep and they were to give me what I want, my Provigil, that's the pill for me, but it's too expensive. $1,600 a month. They give me modafinil instead, which is $49 a month. And they said it's the same as the generic bullcrap. I took them both. There's no comparison. Provigil's got it way over than modafinil. And I'm allergic to modafinil because they put the food coloring, the fillers in it. They put fillers in it, and I'm allergic to some filler that they use, a hardener or something. So anyways, where was I going? See again? I'm tired. I lost my mind again. So I gotta go to sleep. With a whole bunch of unfinished stories. But guess what, people? All them stories are in my videos. The ones I didn't finish. And you're wondering, well, come on, tell us the finish of it. They're in my videos. Find the peanut, people. Find the peanut. Or find the gold nugget. My thoughts are worth a gold nugget. I know they are. Maybe to some little old lady in a nursing home. She's got time to listen to me. Or maybe a little old lady in a nursing home and say, I've had enough of them. I don't want to hear what he has to say. Who knows? All depends on what kind of relationship they had. they have a carousing husband, or do they have a homebound religious person teaching his children how to make it through life rather than make it with strife and make it with faith and hope and love? That's what we're needing. You know, two homos can go and adopt a child, bring it home, and make an effort not to have sex where he can hear it. But anyways, there I go again. So I'm going to cut it, pause it. Maybe I'll get it back and come back with